My name's Marcus Turner, and 3 years ago I thought I'd won the life lottery. I met Sophia Bennett at a wedding with ice sculptures, a band that cost more than my car, and enough champagne to drown a small town. She was magnetic, smart, sharp and beautiful in a navy dress that said, "I make decisions." I was a project manager with a Honda Civic and a decent 401k. Somehow we clicked. She laughed at my awful dancing, remembered little details I told her, and texted me good luck before meetings. She pushed me to think bigger, said I was wasted fixing other people's messes. It felt like love, until I met her family. The Bennetts. Her mother, Patricia, opened their door wearing casual wealth and a smile that said, "Prove you belong." Her father, Gregory, shook my hand like he was squeezing a confession out of me. Their living room was a museum of money. Conversation was a sport. Gregory owned companies, Patricia sat on boards, her sister's husband saved senators' hearts. My folks? A high school principal and an elementary teacher. "How stable," Patricia said, like stability were a rash. That first dinner set the tone. Polite questions that were really measurements, interest that was really evaluation. On the drive home, Sophia insisted they were protective. I wanted to believe her. The proposal and the paperwork I proposed in the botanical gardens where we'd had our third date. She cried and said yes. 2 days later, we were at the Bennett's for congratulations that felt like a performance review. Champagne, tight smiles, and then Patricia's opener. "We'll need to discuss the prenuptial agreement." I swallowed. Of course. Gregory. Nothing personal. Significant assets. Camille. Common sense when one person brings substantially more. I heard the subtext loud and clear. "Welcome to the family." Hands off the silver. It didn't. Stop at contracts. Weddings are supposed to be love. Ours was a brand exercise. 200 guests. A country club ballroom, 3 forks per plate, and a toast from Patricia that ended with a whisper I wasn't meant to hear. At least she signed the prenup. Married life, Bennett style. After the honeymoon, 5-star, hotels my dime, the weekly tribunals began. "Still at TechFlow?" Patricia would purr. "When will you aim higher, Marcus?" Gregory compared my timeline to his second business at my age. Sophia started echoing them. "Maybe Mom's right. Maybe you're settling." I wasn't. I was good at my job. I landed a monster implementation, early and under budget. At home, the win turned into a nudge. Maybe this is your stepping stone to something bigger. Wins never stood alone. They were leverage. Our calendar filled with events where introductions sounded like apologies. "Marcus works in tech," Sophia would say, and people's eyes went hunting for better prey. I kept paying my way. Half. The mortgage, furniture Patricia demanded, dinners with 4-digit tabs, a Napa weekend Gregory deemed appropriate. I kept receipts because in that house, documentation was oxygen. The party. When Sophia landed VP of Strategic Development, I planned the celebration of her dreams. Grand Harbor Hotel Ballroom, live quartet, top-shelf bar, the works. I wanted to remind her and her family who I was, the man who shows up. The night shimmered. Her boss praised her vision. Colleagues cheered. Adrian, my best friend, grabbed the mic and, bless him, mentioned I'd paid for everything because I was proud. Patricia stood, smile like a knife. "Since we're being honest," she said, "Marcus only married my daughter for her money." Silence detonated. 200 heads turned. I looked at Sophia. "Please say something." She met my eyes and gave the smallest nod. Maybe Mom has a point. Something inside me snapped. Cold, clean, final. "The receipts. You want honesty?" I said, "Let's do math." I read from my phone. Ballroom, $10,000. Catering, $8,000. Premium bar, $3,000. Flowers and string quartet, $3,500. Total tonight, $20,4,500. Bennett contribution, $0. Marcus, $20,4,500. Honeymoon, only the finest hotels, $12,000. Me, New condo furniture Patricia insisted on, $7,000. Me. Weekly real restaurants. 15,000. Me. Anniversary, Napa, 4,000. Me. Emergency car loan when Sophia was short on liquid assets, 5,000. Me. Half the mortgage over 2 years, 24,000. Me. Christmas gifts to keep up appearances, 3,000. Me. Engagement ring, substantial enough to reflect Sophia's worth, $8,000. Me. Roughly $8,500, I said, from your friendly neighborhood gold digger. Faces changed. Some grimaced. Some respected the numbers. I kept going, because money wasn't even the point. Who sat up with Sophia until 3 a.m. rebuilding decks when the Henderson deal imploded? Who researched comps for the Peterson merger when she couldn't eat from stress? Who held her hair through food poisoning the night before the board presentation that got her this promotion and drove her to rehearse at 6 a.m.? That wasn't money. That was love. Patricia's mask cracked. Gregory stared at his wine like it might offer counsel. Sophia's confidence wavered. No misunderstanding, I finished. Your daughter just agreed in public that I married her for money at a party I threw to honor her. I set down my glass, nodded to the room, and walked out. Fallout. Sophia chased me with damage control. It was a joke. You overreacted. A joke wears off. 3 years of contempt doesn't. I packed a bag and went to my parents' house, somewhere love didn't require a ledger. 3 weeks later, I filed for divorce. That beloved prenup Patricia weaponized? It cut both ways. She couldn't touch my assets any more than I could touch hers. Meanwhile, the story traveled. Colleagues who'd watched her nod along at that mic started questioning her judgment. Turns out, publicly humiliates spouse at own celebration isn't the leadership brand she thought it was. I focused on work. That big win snowballed. Adrian and I launched Turner Mitchell Consulting, his tech, my delivery. Clients came not because I'd married right, but because I fixed what was broken and told the truth. After 6 months post-divorce, I was on my parents' porch with my mom, my dad, and my sister Rachel, drinking iced tea instead of $1,000 wine, feeling something I hadn't in years, peace. They called me a gold digger, I said. But I was the one being mined, Rachel smirked. Took you long enough. Mom squeezed my hand. Better late than never. I live in a modest place now. I pay for what I can afford. I work with people who respect competence more than pedigree. It's not glamorous, it's honest. Money buys venues, quartets, and reputation on loan. It doesn't buy class, it doesn't buy character, and it sure as hell doesn't buy love. I thought that party would crown my wife's victory. Instead, it gave me back my self-respect.